The battlefield of Kurukshetra did not roar at this moment, it breathed. Dust hung in the air like an unfinished thought, the kind that stays stuck in the chest when something life-changing is about to be said. Chariots stood still, horses stamped the ground softly, warriors waited. But not for arrows. They waited for words. Arjuna sat on the floor of the chariot, his bow Gandiva resting beside him like a loyal friend who had been forgotten. His eyes were no longer filled with panic or confusion as before. Now they held something deeper, thirst, a thirst for truth. Krishna stood before him, calm, radiant, smiling faintly. The smile was not casual. It was the smile of someone who knows a secret so vast that speaking it changes destinies. Arjuna looked up, his voice low, almost afraid to disturb the air. Krishna, you have spoken of knowledge, of action, of renunciation. Yet my heart still feels like it stands at the edge of an ocean. I can see the water, I can hear it, but I do not know how to enter without drowning. Is there something more? Something deeper? Krishna's eyes softened. Yes, Arjuna, he said gently, there is. The wind shifted. This, Krishna continued, is the most secret knowledge of all. Rajavidya, the king of wisdom. Rajaguhya, the king of secrets. Arjuna's breath caught. Krishna's voice lowered, not because others could hear, but because some truths demand intimacy. Because you are not cynical. Because you have faith. Because your heart is open. I will tell you that which purifies everything. The battlefield faded. Not physically, but spiritually. It was as if time itself leaned closer to listen. Krishna did not rush. Truth never rushes. Arjuna, he said, this knowledge is not difficult, not complicated, not hidden behind rituals or harsh penances. It is direct. And yet, it is profound. Arjuna frowned slightly. How can something be simple and profound at the same time? Krishna smiled. Look at the sun, he said. Does it need effort to shine? Does it ask permission to give light? Yet without it, nothing lives. Krishna's voice grew warmer. This knowledge, Atmavidya, is like that. It is the understanding of the self. Not the body you wear, not the thoughts that come and go, but the eternal presence that watches all of it. Arjuna felt a strange sensation, as if Krishna's words were not entering through his ears, but directly through his chest. This wisdom, Krishna continued, is righteous, because it aligns you with truth. It is imperishable, because it does not fade with time. And it is joyful, because it frees you from fear. Fear. The word struck Arjuna deeply. Fear of death. Fear of sin. Fear of loss. Fear of choosing wrongly. Krishna saw it all. When you know who you truly are, Krishna said softly, fear loses its power. How can the ocean fear wave? Arjuna's eyes widened. You mean, I am not merely this warrior, this son, this brother? Krishna shook his head. You are the witness of all these roles. The actor, not the costume. And when you act without knowing this, life becomes bondage. But when you act with this knowledge, life becomes liberation. A tremor ran through Arjuna's spine. Could knowledge really be this liberating? Krishna leaned slightly forward. And Arjuna, he said, this wisdom is easy to practice. Not because it demands nothing, but because it demands sincerity. Krishna's tone shifted, not harsh, but firm. Understand this clearly, he said. Those who lack faith in this truth, those who doubt the self, who mock the idea of divine order, who believe only in what the eyes can see, they do not reach me. Arjuna felt uneasy. What happens to them, Krishna? He asked. Krishna's gaze was steady. They remain bound to the cycle. Birth after birth, action after action, desire after desire. The words were heavy. Not a punishment, not a threat, a consequence. They wander, Krishna continued, not because I reject them, but because they reject the possibility of something higher. Arjuna swallowed. Is faith that important? Krishna nodded. Faith is not blind belief, he said. It is openness. It is the courage to say, I do not know everything. Without faith, even truth stands useless, like medicine refused by the sick. A memory stirred inside Arjuna, moments of arrogance, moments when he believed strength alone could solve everything. How does one cultivate this faith? Arjuna asked quietly. Krishna's answer was simple. By listening, by reflecting, by living with humility. Krishna gestured toward the battlefield. Look around you, Arjuna. Every warrior here believes something. Some believe power is everything. Some believe victory is life. Some believe honor is enough. He paused. But belief shapes destiny. And faith in the self leads beyond destiny into freedom. Arjuna felt tears well up, uninvited, unstoppable. Krishna, he whispered, what if one wants to believe, but feels unworthy? Krishna's smile returned, gentle, intimate, eternal. Then know this, he said, I do not reveal this knowledge to the perfect. I reveal it to the sincere. The air felt lighter now, as if the very atoms had been cleansed. Krishna spoke again, his voice carrying an undercurrent of deep compassion. This knowledge purifies completely, he said. Just as fire turns wood into ash, this wisdom burns ignorance at its root. Arjuna closed his eyes instinctively. Within him, images rose. Mistakes, regrets, moments of cruelty, moments of weakness. All actions, Krishna continued, bind only when done in ignorance. But when done in knowledge, they lose their chains. Arjuna opened his eyes. You mean, even a warrior like me, fighting in war, can be free? Krishna met his gaze. Especially you, he said. The words hit like thunder. Renunciation is not abandoning action, Krishna explained. It is abandoning the ego that claims, I am the doer. When you offer every action to me, action becomes worship. Arjuna felt something shift. A burden he didn't know he carried began to dissolve. So this is devotion? He asked. Yes, Krishna replied. Devotion is not escape. It is total involvement without attachment. Krishna placed his hand over his heart. When you know me as the self within all beings, hatred dies. When you see me in every face, compassion is natural. Arjuna looked at the opposing army again. Teachers, cousins, friends. For the first time, he did not see enemies. He saw souls playing their parts. And this knowledge, Krishna said, is not hidden because it is forbidden. It is hidden because few are ready to receive it. A long silence followed. Not awkward, not empty, pregnant with meaning. Arjuna finally spoke. Krishna, if this knowledge is so powerful, so pure, so freeing, why doesn't everyone accept it? Krishna sighed, not in frustration, but in understanding. Because it demands responsibility, he said. To know the truth is to live it. Many prefer comfort over transformation. Krishna's eyes held Arjuna firmly. This path is open to all, he continued, but walked by few. It requires faith, effort, and surrender. Arjuna straightened his back. And those who reject it? Krishna answered softly. They remain caught in temporary worlds, chasing temporary joys, suffering temporary pains, forgetting the eternal. Arjuna felt a surge of clarity. So the real battle, he said slowly, is not this war, but ignorance itself? Krishna's smile was radiant now. Yes, he exclaimed, this war is only a reflection. The true Kurukshetra lies within every heart. The conches in the distance began to sound again. Time was returning. Duty was calling. Arjuna picked up Gandiva. But this time, his hands did not tremble. The battlefield roared back to life. Drums, horns, the thunder of destiny. Yet within Arjuna, there was silence. A deep, unshakable calm. Krishna looked at him one last time before taking the reins. Remember, he said, this knowledge is not lost when the body falls. It travels with the soul. Arjuna nodded. He was no longer fighting to win. He was fighting to serve. He was no longer afraid of death. He had tasted the eternal. As the chariot moved forward, arrows ready, hearts pounding, the secret of Atmavidya lived quietly within him, like a lamp shielded from the storm. And somewhere beyond time, Krishna's words echoed endlessly. This is the king of knowledge, the purifier of all, the path of faith, the doorway to freedom. The war began, but Arjuna had already won. If you like our work, then do like, subscribe and share the channel.